All right. What's up, everybody? Scott Talks Audio. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to break into a music scene as a DJ or producer. This is something that, a lot of people struggle with, I think, especially as they're just getting started, whether they're DJing or they're making music or both. I figured this out a while back, and I say figured it out because, I was able to break into a music scene. So, and I know a lot of people who have as well. So I figured I'd share, my experience with all of you and the experiences of other people that I've seen and known. And hopefully that will be helpful for you. So, the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to start going to events, right? So go to shows, go to parties, go to bars, go to festivals, anything like that. Anything where there's going to be people that are like-minded and doing similar things as you. And it seems obvious, but I know a lot of people are can be shy at first, or, oh, well, that's not my scene. And, that can be true. And, there are other ways to figure out how to do it. But to be completely honest, this industry is very social, and there's always going to be outliers that just make music in their basement dungeon studios and send it out there into the world and have success. But those people are pretty far between, few and far between. It's a very social industry. People go out, they see each other, they share the bond of enjoying music together. And you can get a lot of inspiration by going to shows and listening to music in really great, fun environments with good sound systems, and by sharing that experience with people and having other people, DJs, friends, whatever, show you the kind of music that they're into and they're excited by. And it can really kind of shape your own music, right? Because you're seeing what's popular and what's working, and then you can go back to your studio and put that, incorporate some of those sounds and ideas and the vibes into your own music. And it really goes a long way. When I go out to an event or whatever, or a festival, I'm just, supercharged with inspiration. And I always try to come back as soon as I can and hop into the studio and put that inspiration to work, right? And it's worked. It works time and time again. It really never doesn't work. So try to find where people are going that have your similar interests, and join them. Weekly parties, especially if you're younger, in your 20s or early 30s, weekly parties can be really, really good. We had one here. We had a couple. We had one called Ritual, which was a dubstep party at Temple nightclub, and we had one called EPR, which was a little bit younger crowd, and it was kind of dubstep, electro, drum and bass, house, whatever. And those were weekly parties in San Francisco, and people would go every week, and it was like a family. Everybody knew everybody, and of course there was drama within the parties and that sort of thing. But generally speaking, those weekly parties really, all those people that went to those weekly parties still are in the scene and still are doing their thing. And of course, not everybody, right? There's some people that are just young and they just want to go out and they want to have fun, and that's kind of the end of that. But the people that are really in the scene and kind of lifers, as I call them, musicians especially, and DJs and event promoters and that sort of thing, they're still basically working in the industry. And they all kind of can share those stories of those weekly parties that they went to. And those weekly parties really formed a lot of bonds. So see if you can find a weekly party or event or whatever at a club or a bar. Those go a long ways. Additionally, you can throw your own events. That's something that I did. I struggled to become a DJ, and I was kind of one of those cart before the horse things. You must have 3 years experience to be able to apply for this job. I wasn't really getting booked when I first started to want to be a DJ. And I asked around, and I just didn't really have much luck because I honestly hadn't really DJ'd anywhere. My first gig was actually at UC Berkeley, I just put myself out there on, I think, Craigslist or something as a DJ. And I didn't really have any experience, but I did have a sound system. I had two, JBL loudspeakers, big 15-inch loudspeakers, and a mixer, and I had a laptop setup and a controller working with Traktor. And I got booked for a Halloween party. And it was a frat house full of, college kids, probably 200, 300, 400 college kids. And to this day, it was still one of my best events that I've ever DJ'd. And I helped put it on in a sense. I brought the sound system and I was responsible for all the music. I didn't know anybody there. And I didn't get paid a ton, just a couple $100 or something. But that was really a very pivotal moment for me, because I was like, oh, I can just put myself out there like this and kind of, fake it till you make it, and you can get booked. And that gave me enough confidence to be like, well, I can talk to people, and I can, I know I can DJ, but I don't really have a ton of experience. I have this one party. So what I'll do is I'll go to a local bar and talk to them and say, hey, can we do a weekly event here? And that's what I did. So a buddy of mine, we both went and talked to this bar owner. We went to Milk Bar in San Francisco. It's on Haight Street. And we talked to the guy there, and he was like, yeah, we could do Monday nights. So I got started doing a Monday night party. It was a dubstep and electro party. This was probably back in 2008, 2009, and we did that for about 2 years. And what I realized is that by throwing your own party and organizing this thing, right, you would book other people, and you'd start reaching out and finding other DJs, and they would play your party, and they'd have a good time. And then they'd be like, oh, wait, you DJ too. Why don't you come play my party? And boom. All of a sudden, I was DJing other people's parties. And of course, you can play your own party too. What I would do is I would just be the opening slot or whatever, and just to kind of out of respect, right? I throw this. I'm not going to be the headliner for my own show, right? That's just kind of a crappy thing to do. But it worked really well, And so I always tell people, if you're looking to break into the industry, why not throw your own event, and then you can invite people to play, and then they'll invite you back. So that's a really good one. Also, if you're a little bit more antisocial, you could always do Discord servers. So Discord servers are great, and Discord's really been popping off lately, whether you're into crypto or DJing or whatever. I'm sure there's a Discord server for, basically everything, but, or video games, that's kind of where it started. There's a lot of really good music producer Discord servers that people share music and they talk, and a lot of companies and brands and like DJ Tech Tools, that sort of thing, like they'll have their own Discord server, even just producers, right? So some bigger producers or whatever middle producers, they'll just have a Discord server, and they'll have like a following of people that like their music and like what they're into and that sort of thing, and they'll share their music and give feedback, and so that's really a good way to do it. Another good way is to create content. So I always tell people, the best way to get people to listen to your music is to give back. And a lot of people are kind of under the false impression that just making music and being a producer and putting that out there is creating content and giving back, so to speak, to the community. But I always point out that, there's so much out there these days. So many people are making music. If everyone's sending you their music, it's kind of a chore. And that's what I think a lot of people have realized, is that when you've got, 2 or 3 people a week sending you new tracks or mixes or whatever, it just becomes a chore trying to listen to it all. And so the best way to do it, and because, that's a one-sided relationship. You think you're giving them your music to listen to, but what you're really doing is you're asking them for their attention. And people only have so many hours in the day, and they only have so much attention. And so it's kind of a one-sided relationship, that transaction. So I always tell people to, create content, whatever it is. It could be articles or networking parties or events or videos or tutorials. And by doing that, you're creating something for the industry and for other people that is beneficial for them, or at the very least entertaining, right? And it's a good way to establish yourself and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm providing something. And then you can also be like, hey, look, my music's over here. And if they want, a lot of people are interested in not just hearing your tutorials or your or going to your events or your networking parties, but they're also like, oh well, I talked to that person about them making music, and we talked about making music together, and so I'll go on and check out their stuff, and that is it's a two-sided relationship. It's mutually beneficial for both people. So that's really important. Another one is to kind of, be the best at something. Like if you are a turntablist or whatever, and you're just like the best scratcher, ever, you can go out and you can say, well, hey, I'd like to play your party. And I'm really, really wicked at scratching. And then you can send them a video or something. And, the event promoter might say, oh, wow, actually, it might be kind of cool to throw in a sick, scratch junglist or something for a little bit of flavor, in my night, which is normally just kind of standard DJs and that sort of thing. So that's a good way. Also, last but not least, you can work in the industry, right? So a lot of people that are in the music scene here in San Francisco, sure, a lot of them have tech jobs or whatever, or they're teachers or whatever. But a lot of them are bartenders. Most of them are DJs. Most music producers are also DJs. Not every DJ is a music producer, but a lot of them throw events. A lot of them, either own or work at a bar. So a lot of them, like myself, do lights and sound. And that was for me kind of an inadvertent way to tap into the scene. I went to school for making music and for audio engineering. And I didn't even really realize, that was going to be a good way to kind of get me into the scene, because I would be working in the scene and doing sound and then eventually lights. And it worked out great. Now I work at Halcyon, downtown San Francisco, and we have a massive, massive community at that nightclub. And it's a big network of DJs and producers that are all really good at what they do. And, a lot of us rub elbows with much bigger DJs and producers from all around the world. I'm very privileged that, basically every week I get to, meet and take photos with and work with, producers and DJs from all around the world, some of the biggest and best out there. But it could just be a local bar. Like I said, if they're doing weekly events, you're going to meet people, you're going to meet event promoters and that sort of thing. And that's just networking 101. It's just putting yourself out there, being social, providing a service. Again, if there's any moral of this whole video, it's just give back, right? It's give back to the community, and people will take notice. So anyway, this has been Scott Talks Audio. I am Scott Brio, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace out.